So as always, our political analyst John Keller joins us for What a Week, the phrase we say every week.
Yeah, this week we really mean it, though. Oh, man.
Here was another one. After all the analysis, you tell us from your perspective, what do the results from the New Hampshire primary really mean moving forward?
Well, look, first of all, Bernie Sanders wins, okay?
Right, that is the headline.
And that's fair. That's as it should be. You see the results here. But the narrowness of his victory, quite frankly, based on the exclusive WBZ Globe Suffolk tracking poll that we were running all week, if Amy Klobuchar hadn't risen at the end after that Friday night debate, I think Pete Buttigieg might well have beaten Sanders. He had that kind of momentum. So finishing under 30 in a state where he won more than 60% 4 years ago, the neighboring senator, it raises questions, or rather it doesn't dispel lingering questions about what Bernie Sanders' ceiling is. You know, you put together the moderates in the race. Well, first of all, Sanders combined with Warren, I believe it's combined for about 35%. You put together the three moderates, Biden, Klobuchar, Buttigieg, they were up over 50%. Now, that's not how electoral politics works, but it's a sign that the so-called hard
4 years ago.
Yeah, and the so-called hard leftward drift of the Democratic Party not showing up so far, Paula.
No. And as you pointed out, talking about what everybody else got, Joe Biden, you know, he's got his own issues, but our Senator Elizabeth Warren, who really spiked in the fall, what happened to the Warren campaign?
There's no sugarcoating it. It's a disaster. Consider the basic fundamental elements of Elizabeth Warren's brand, the brand that was selling quite well up through the summer until about mid-October. What happened in mid-October? In a debate, other candidates went after her. This was the woman with all the plans, the detailed plans. Voters seemed to like that, and why not? But then, on the single biggest issue to Democratic voters, health care, she didn't have a plan.
Right. She got that question.
And it had to be sort of forced out of her, so she stepped on her own brand there. And then what else defines the Warren brand? She's a fighter. She persisted, right? She's tough. She's passionate. All good, right? And in tune with the times, except when the time came for her to direct some of this passion and this fighting ability at Bernie Sanders, her main competitor for primary votes, she refused to.
She really didn't take him on.
She took a pass, and that also stepped on her brand, and now she's going to run as a uniter. That's in diametrically opposed to this fighting brand.
Well, she says she's staying in it. We'll see how much longer.
Good luck.
The Boston Calling verdict was thrown out this week. That was the breaking news. What's the significance of that ruling?
Boy, you know, here are the two aides, Ken Brissett and Tim Sullivan.
Right. Let's go back over what they were accused of
doing. They were accused of violating the Hobbs Act, which is basically the federal law that bars public officials from taking bribes to do stuff for you. So they were accused of, in their advocacy for union representation on the staff of this music festival, violating the Hobbs Act. One little problem, as the federal judge pointed out when he threw out their convictions, they never took a dime. They got nothing of value.
They were just...
They were
advocating.
They were advocating for the union. There were legitimate reasons for that they offered, that the jury dismissed. And the bottom line is the judge said that U.S. Attorney Andrew Lelling went way off the rails here, promoted a definition of the law that is at odds with reality, changed the central premise of the case as it was going to trial. It's a scathing rebuke of Lelling. And more to the point, the Boston Calling verdict had wide-ranging implications for the way that government interacts with organized labor here in this state. We have a prevailing wage law, which requires that workers on state projects receive the going union rate. And there are other ways in which we, in this state, for better or worse, debatably promote unionism. Were those all going to be ruled illegal too? So it's a big deal.
The judge thought this was real overreach.
Way, way overreach. And so now there's the possibility of a new trial. It's going to be up to the U.S. Attorney whether or not he goes for it. But what a can of worms this whole thing opened up.
All right, John Keller, thanks so much.
Have a great weekend.
Have a good weekend. Thank you.
Good to talk to you.